Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to this video. Oh my goodness, I am so excited. So as you will have seen 2 weeks ago, I had the honour of hosting an interview with a dear friend called Jerome, and that's something that he does so frequently on his channel that I was like, I had so much fun on that Tuesday evening that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna start doing this. So please join me today as I have the honour and the privilege of speaking with a dear friend, and to be quite honest with you, someone that has mentored me through the Akashic records and with my natal chart, the wonderful, divine Cara Melendy. So I'm going to wait for her to see the notification and to jump on. But we're going to be talking eclipse season. We've got our first eclipse coming up this weekend. We're going to be talking about natal charts, the Akashic records, the power that cosmic intelligence holds. So I'm just going to ask, first and foremost, if anyone is live straight away, can you just confirm for me that you can hear me? Give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, say hello. Something that just lets me know that my earphones are working okay. But I am so excited. She will be joining us in just a moment. So if you have any questions pertaining to natal charts, pertaining to the Akashic records, to the eclipses, feel welcome to ask them in here. It's going to be such a joyous time as you get to meet this wonderful, wonderful, empowering goddess. So, oh, thank you, Carl. Thank you for confirming the sound. And much love to you, my dear. Much love. Oh, and there is Cara. Okay. Oh my gosh. Just request to join, my darling, and we will... There we go. Da-da-da. Okay. There we go. Okay, you should be jumping on live now, my friend. Welcome.
Hello.
Oh,
How are you? It's so great to connect.
oh, it's so wonderful to see you. Seriously, you light me up. I love seeing you. I love being face to face with you here.
Oh, same with you. Thank you. Well, I hope I'm not too close to the camera. I jump on. I'm like, oh my goodness, right there.
I do the exact same thing. Don't worry. I was just doing the same thing. I'm like, look, we're two floating heads.
Oh,
Oh gosh, and
thank
we've
you for
got
having me.
oh, what an honor. I was just saying as Instagram was kind of starting up and it was starting to notify people, I was just saying, I was like, I had the honor 2 weeks ago of hosting someone for an interview, a friend that does this all the time, and I was like, oh my gosh, I had so much fun. I'm just gonna have to start doing this. And I feel so privileged and honored that you're my first guest, Cara. So thank you. Thank you for being here and welcome. And look at all these people joining us live. Hello, everybody.
Hello. Well, it's such a great time to connect. I just finished doing a video now on the new moon solar eclipse. So I was just feeling into that energy. I know
Oh,
there's so much happening right now in the cosmos that we're feeling here on planet Earth as well. So I think it's just perfect time, right? To
yes.
have this discussion and support people in creating with these energies.
Absolutely. And I know I am so appreciative that you're here talking about this, because I know I am feeling like I am facing the culmination of all the karma that I've kind of accrued and worked through in order to clear it in this eclipse cycle. So I'm like, wow, if I'm feeling all that kind of coming in, I can't even imagine what everyone else is feeling right now, you know? Um,
Totally, yeah. Well,
yeah.
and that's the thing with eclipses as well. They do activate the north and south node, which is so significant in astrology. That is our karma, that is our life path
Uh-huh.
and purpose. So I love that you're intuitively feeling into that energy and just everything that's coming up around it. I find people that are very intuitive, which I'm sure everyone that's been drawn here today, right? Like you feel energy, you experience energy, and then the astrology can help us get like the specifics around it and kind of
Mm.
confirm like, okay, that's why I'm feeling that, that's why I'm experiencing this. And it's just such a powerful tool. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. So, Cara, can we take it back to like ground zero here for anyone that's just a little bit new to astrology or to the Akashic records, because you are an expert, you are a master in both of those, and you combine them to empower women and goddesses around the world so magnificently. But for someone that's brand new here, and we're going to ask about you as well, but I just thought while the platform is open for talking about this and sharing what that's about, what is a natal chart? What are the Akashic records? And how does the external
Mm.
cosmic energy, why does that influence us?
Absolutely. Yeah. So our natal chart is also known as our birth chart, and it's a snapshot of the sky when we are born. So it really captures our unique energetic blueprint, which is so powerful because no one else has our unique birth chart. This is something that is unique for each of us. And in addition to showing our gifts, our strengths, and our talents, it also gives us information on our journey throughout lifetimes. So we can also explore past lifetimes in a birth chart. We can explore future possibilities, what our path and purpose is, our unique soul gifts, our codes of healing. There's just so much in a chart. It's really amazing because some people think it's like it's our sun sign or moon or rising, and that is just one part of our chart, right? Or maybe if we're just very new to astrology, we may just know our zodiac sign, which is our sun sign, but there's so many other components that when we dive in, it truly is incredible the information it has for us. And then the Akashic records also connect us to our unique soul blueprint as well. So I see the Akashic field as connecting us to pure potential and possibility, a way to connect to our spirit team, our higher self, and our unique record shows our blueprint. So also through our records, we can explore past lifetimes, we can gain insight on our purpose work this lifetime. And I also like to work in this space to help other spiritual entrepreneurs, so the light workers, healers of the world, in elevating their business as they connect to this. Because what's so interesting is our business has its unique birth chart as well as its own Akashic records.
So it's got like its own snapshot of like the sky. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. And its own unique record. So it's such a game changer when we are able to tap into that, because sometimes we can feel so confused around who are the clients I'm here to serve? What is the message I'm here to deliver? What makes me unique and magnetic? And when we tap into these avenues, we really get clarity on that. So much more I could dive into on these.
I bet. And it's funny you say that though about, you know, about your business, your path and the blueprints of that, because that's got to be the number one question that we get, right, all the time from any of our friends or our family or our clients or whomever we speak with is, you know, I don't know what I'm here to do. Like, I know I'm meant to do something, but what is it? And I'm like, wow, okay, that's got to be the number one question, you know?
I think especially for starseeds, like people who incarnate on this planet with a really strong mission and purpose, like we don't, some people come in and they know what that is right away. Others don't, but they know they're here for a reason. They know they're here on purpose. So I think that is a very common question. They want to know, how can I impact the planet? How can I make this world a better place? They know they have gifts, but sometimes it's just digging in and discovering that. And what's unique about, you know, astrology and the records, what I love is it takes us back to our soul path. I mean, there's so many beautiful things we can explore through personality tests and, you know, those other avenues out there, which again, amazing. But I love that astrology and the records, it's like, this is our soul blueprint. This is our path. So it brings us back to our truth.
Oh, it's like the fingerprint of your soul, hey?
Oh, well said. I like that.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. So for everyone that's watching, if you're new to Cara, I've just got to say, you know, I've known Cara for a few years. It's got to be like a good 5 or so years now, hasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's 5 years already. And, you know, and I absolutely adored the light and the clarity that she was bringing through, and I don't want to say the word hope, because, I mean, there was hope, but it was more grounded than that. You know, it was more kind of the focus of being able to help someone really remember who they are, you know. So Cara, you know, I've had sessions with Cara where we've gone into, you know, my natal chart, my birth chart, and just unraveled things that I didn't understand, like why something was happening, or, you know, or why I kept having a certain pattern or a karmic pattern show up. And, you know, and even in the Akashic records, we've had joint natal chart Akashic records readings, haven't we, you and I, and the expansion that comes through from that space and the information we're able to glean, because, you know, Cara, you were the first introduction for me to the Akashic records.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
so special.
I know. I don't know if I ever told you that before, but my first conscious exploration of that space, you know,
Yeah.
And, you know, people go into that space for so many different reasons, right? You know, to do past life healing, and people do like soul retrieval and stuff like that. But I think where you are zoning in on is something that's so unexplored, but has such vast potential. I'm surprised it hasn't caught on like much more, like the way that you, the key codes that you access. Can you tell us a little bit
Mm.
more about what
Oh,
you do
thank
in the
you for
Akashic
sharing
Records?
that. Yeah, because there is so much potential in that space. So thank you for sharing your experience. And I didn't realize I was your introduction to that space. That feels really special because I know how much like the records has transformed my world and my business. So when I hear that, wow, like I was able to introduce someone else to this realm, it's incredible. And there is
Yes.
so much we can do in that energy. Like you
Mm.
said, we can really explore our karma. And when I talk about karma too, I always think it's important to say I don't see it as like a punishment in
Mm-mm.
any way, and I know you don't either. I just see it as a continuation of the journey we are on, understanding our patterns, how we're here to grow and evolve. The
Mm-hmm.
records give so much insight on that. Like it's truly incredible. But yeah, I really love to work in this space to help people connect to their unique soul blueprint. That's
Mm.
one of my primary things. And then if I'm helping people who also have a business, it's connecting to the records of their business as well, because like you said, that activates something within us.
Mm.
Just being in the records brings in an element of healing and a realignment to our path, because we have so many programs we've taken on from other people. Like people like to project their beliefs, their ideas of the world,
Oh, for
right? Who
sure.
they think we are. And it's like a stripping away of that. So when we come back to our records, we're like, wow, this is my truth. I also love to help people align to their highest path and purpose,
Mm.
because the records exist. There's infinite possibilities in that space. Basically, we're playing with energy, and there's so many ways that energy can rearrange. So I like to look at what's the highest path for that, right? And there's no judgment in that space. Whatever path we choose is beautiful, and it is going to cause evolution for our soul and for the
Uh-huh.
planet. So it's wonderful. But we can also look at, okay, what's written in my records for me to claim? What are the
Mm.
intentions I had coming into this life experience? What are the gifts that I can work with? So that's what I mean by the highest timeline. It's like the
Oh.
intentions we had, the path that is there that our higher self is calling us toward, because our higher self isn't attached to those labels and beliefs that other people have projected onto us.
Mm-mm.
It's beyond all of that.
So, oh, I'm going to ask the question, which I'm sure maybe one or two are thinking here. If there is such infinite possibilities of energy, of different ways that you can go, how do you anchor in on which is the highest one? How do you know what that is? What if it's something that's so obscure that they've not thought about that before? Does that happen?
Oh my goodness. I love that you asked that, because many people say when they enter the records, it expanded their business. They're like, I'm being shown this. I don't know how it's possible, but this vision is coming through. It will call us to higher levels of achievement and creation,
Yeah.
because it's not limited by our ego. And
Mm.
also, when I say ego, I don't mean that necessarily in a negative way either. It's
Mm-mm.
simply when we come into this human body, we take on a human persona. Infinite intelligence flows through each of us uniquely. It's actually a beautiful thing. And it can also limit us at times if we forget that we are also more than this human
Mm.
persona, this human incarnation. So the records opens us up to who we are beyond that. So that's where we can play in a new energy. We can play in a new frequency. And again, there are many paths we can take. So it is a very intuitive process to feel
Mm.
into what's most aligned for me at this time, and then to begin to calibrate that energy.
Yeah. And you know, for anyone that's not worked with Kara before and who has perhaps gone into the Akashic Records with someone else, you know, you may have gone in there with myself or with someone else. What I love about Kara, what I love about you and how you enter that space is you've got such a high frequency structure to release and allow to give permission is the words that are coming through. You give permission for the ego to feel relaxed so that that cosmic intelligence can flow unencumbered, right? That's what really comes through when you guide someone in that way.
Thank you. Yeah, the
Yeah.
process I use is it feels very secret because it is a
Mm.
frequency that we are tapping into. We can all access our records, we can all access the Akashic field, but it is learning to raise our vibration, to detach from those programs. So the process I use to enter the records really is about getting grounded. So there's
Mm.
definitely different elements to it. It's like clearing away what doesn't serve us. It's connecting into Mother Gaia so we feel really grounded, connecting into our higher self. There's definitely intentional elements I brought into the space that I, hold the intention that it activates people, that it brings
Mm.
in healing, that it aligns their chakras even before we get into the records, because that's such a powerful process. And there's like an overall structure I use, but then it's very much tailored to that person's energy. Like I'll get a sense of maybe someone's needing a little more grounding and healing and
Mm.
connection with Mother Gaia. Someone else, there maybe one of their energy centers is really speaking to me. So we'll work on that chakra, just clearing out the old, bringing in the new. So yeah, thank you for sharing that and bringing that in, because
Oh.
I really, it's a process that I continue to refine as well as I work in the records and just receive guidance on what can serve people the most, basically.
Absolutely. And I just want to welcome to everyone that is jumping on live here. And you may be watching this on the replay as well, because we are going to download this afterwards. It will still be on Instagram, but we're going to have it on Facebook and YouTube as well, so you can watch this across the different platforms, and Kari will have a copy as well. But I just want to invite anyone that is live, as you are listening to us talk about, birth charts, cosmic alignments. We're going to talk about the eclipses, Akashic records. Let us know in the comments. Have you visited your Akashic records before? What type of experience did you have? And do you have any questions for Cara? Because it's not often you are face to face with a master astrologer and an Akashic record practitioner who has been so focused in her, in your speciality, right?
Thank
For the
you.
length of time that you have. So we welcome questions. We will get to those as well later on, right?
Definitely open to
Mm.
any questions around the records, and absolutely the what I've heard from other people who do energy work, other light workers, is they have sometimes accessed the records without fully knowing, or
Mm.
sometimes they will receive insight that they are in the records, right? Because again, this is a space we can all access, we can all enter, and usually if we're called to the records, there's something there for us. I always say the records call us in when we're ready to have our life
Yes.
transformed, because it'll never be the same after working in the space. Like it just can't be. It just opens us up to a new way of seeing things, a new perspective. It's really incredible. Like it will forever change our life and our journey.
Oh, it does. Because I do. I recall the first session that you and I had, and my life was literally, it's tangent, like I was going on this path, and that was not in my highest good. That was just old false beliefs, old patterns, and things like that my persona had picked up. And then
Yeah.
the divergence that happened, you
Yeah.
know, it's like light is seeded within you, right? Your truth, your own personal truth gets seeded within you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So,
It does,
oh my
right?
God.
Just automatic. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's like we're just so excited to be chatting in this way. Oh gosh. So I want to ask Cora, um, what was your introduction to the records? And do you still like the records, as you said, that it's this quantum field, it's so vast. There's endless, unlimited possibilities. But then also, you're a master astrologer, and that seems a little bit more kind of like, set in stone, like grounded, considering it's up in the sky, quite grounded. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like very precise, but then exponential potential. How do they interlink? But how did you get on to this as well?
Absolutely, yeah. And I see Laura jumped in, who also works in the records. Hey,
Ah.
Laura. Yeah, which is awesome. So, yeah, astrology was actually something that I had initially studied. Since I was a kid, I was drawn to astrology. So I used to be like the kid on the playground reading everyone's horoscopes. Like it always spoke to me so strongly. And then I actually went on I also have a background in psychology. So I
Mm.
feel like I probably would have dove in and did the spiritual work right away, but I took the more of the mainstream, the psychology path, which served me tremendously tremendously as well. And it was actually after ending my master's degree and I was looking at starting my own business, my own practice, that astrology came back in again. And it really spoke to me. And this time I dove deeper. So I really started studying, okay, moon signs. We know our sun signs, moon signs, and that opened up a whole new world, right? I'm like, oh, wow, okay, the sun sign is our personality, our identity, but the moon unlocks a new key component. And it's very connected to the goddess energy, the feminine as well. It's what we need on an emotional level. Like, it just unlocks so much, being able to explore that. And then I dove even deeper, and I'm like, okay, rising signs, this is the image we present to the world. And then, of course, the placement of all the planets, the relationships. So astrology has been something I worked with for a while. And the records, what invited me to get certified in this space is actually through readings that I had that transformed my life. Yeah, it literally, it called me, it spoke to me. I knew something clicked just by being in the records, that my life would just never be the same. Like, it created a huge expansion in my business too, just being in that energy. Like, it amazing. Like, just everything from the programs I offered to the clients I knew I was here to serve. And I wanted to get certified in this so I could better understand it. So initially it was a process of, you know, just doing my own healing work in that space, exploring my own blueprint. And then and then from there it went on to wanting, of course, to be able to offer this to other people. And I realized what a perfect marriage astrology and the records were, right? Because like you said, astrology, right? Intertwined. Even though astrology, like, it is, we're looking at the stars, we're studying the cosmos, there's is something more grounded about it, in that I can pull up someone's chart, right? I can pull up their chart and I can show them where these energies are playing out. So it makes it more visible. So when we do that in the records, like with your sessions, right? When we went into the records and then looked at your astrology in that space, it just opens up so much more than doing one on their own. I mean, they're both powerful and beautiful. We all have our own unique way of working with it. But my calling was, let's bring it together. And I saw how the possibilities, the information, the healing, the clarity just was incredible.
And you know what? I like my first session with you was just before my Saturn return as well.
Right.
So that was extra poignant.
Powerful time.
Yeah. So we have a couple of questions, and I think, and a couple of people saying hello. So did you say that this was Laura, Emerge Healing and Wellness, saying hello and so much love to you? Oh gosh. Veronica's just saying that she did the Akashic records with myself, and the experience is still as clear as when we did the session. Yes, right. It imprints in your mind. It's like the energy just really, it roots in, and it goes, no, this is your truth. You know this. Don't worry about the human side. It's good. It's good.
It's incredible how that knowledge and information just flows in, right? Like, it really is so powerful. And that's what I say to people as well. I'm like, the integrations we did in this session, that they'll continue. Like, you'll continue to see the shifts in your life. It's like we feel and we experience it. We get clarity right away. But then I find the magic is we look back and we're like, oh my goodness, my life is changing. It's transforming. Like, it's really incredible just by being in that space. And then, of course, you can make it more specific to what people desire. If there's a pattern they want to explore, if there's something they want to call into their life, right? Like, I love helping people activate abundance, or again, doing this work in terms of their business where they get crystal clear around the clients they're here to serve, what their message is, really being grounded in their power, opening up for that flow of money to come into their business as well. Like,
because that's a big part of what you do is you empower in a very grounded way. And I say in a very grounded way because, you know, we need resources, right, to be able to serve how we need to, without the fear, without, you know, the obstructions like constantly there. You know, we do need the resources to do that. So we are going to talk about that in a little while, because you've got so much to share, and I want to share an experience I had with you this past week as well. But I just want to I want to offer Kyle's question to you, because my beautiful soul sister Kyle, she's gorgeous, and she was just asking, for those of us that haven't got their full natal chart, where would you recommend you go? And
Yeah.
I'm going to add on a little bit. Can you delve more into like your Venus sign and your moon sign as well, and why that's so important right now?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, if anyone is interested in learning more about readings, I do them now by special request. So I'm going to put
Mhm.
it out here while we're connecting. I usually don't always
Yeah.
promote, but anyone here, if you saw me through Alice, I'm happy to dive in and do that. Also, you can go to astro.com
Mm,
and pull up a chart. That's the one I use. It's a free site, astro.com. Now, I will say there's a lot to understanding your chart, right? Like there's a lot you really have to dive into that can feel overwhelming. So
mm.
that's where I find it is helpful to work with someone who
Yes.
understands it a little more, to be able to dive more deeply into it, because there are just so many different components, right? So, I mean, yeah, but you can pull up a chart on astro.com, and there are different places where you can, receive some of that guidance.
Yeah.
So, yeah, as far you were asking about the Venus placement right now. Well, yeah, this is kind of twofold here. So there's a Venus placement in our chart, right? So Venus is the goddess of love, of
Mm,
beauty, of prosperity, and embodiment of the divine feminine energy, right?
mhm.
Whether, however we relate in terms of our gender, we all have that divine feminine energy we can play in. And Venus really shows where that is in our chart. So we have that in a certain house placement, a certain sign, and it
Mhm.
really shows how we like to receive, how we show up in relationships. It's a very, very beautiful energy to understand, especially diving into relationships when it comes to a birth chart. It's like understanding your Venus placement is key. A lot of times with compatibility, people look just at sun signs, which is your
Mm,
personality, your identity, but that says something, but more importantly is your Venus placement, or like you said, your moon sign. In
uh-huh.
relationships, having moon and Venus signs that are compatible are important.
Mhm.
Now there's so many details around that, but definitely looking for that in relationships is so key. Now the
Mm.
reason, if we look at currently where Venus is in the cosmos today, it's very, very significant right now, especially as we build up to this new moon eclipse. Is currently in the sign of Pisces. So it's
What
actually
does that mean?
yeah, Venus in Pisces. Venus is known to be exalted in
Mhm.
Pisces, which makes it very powerful, very strong in its full expression of beauty, of love, of peace and harmony. And it's really inviting us to seek that out more in our life right now. I think we've been through so much as a planet as we evolve, that there can be a lot of fear that we may be holding in our body and in our heart that we want to work through. We don't want to deny that. We want to process it, but there's a lot of love to tap into as well. And a lot of these cosmic energies, Venus right now, so
Mhm.
powerful, next to Neptune and Jupiter in Pisces. So it really does say, yeah, we are elevating consciousness on this planet. More
Mhm.
people are embodying love and compassion. We are ascending. So I really hope this gives people hope. And I know
Yeah.
you feel this too, right? Like it's something very real that we can tap into and experience right now. And we don't have to get pulled into the fear programming and the drama that's at play. I think it's really important we are frequency keepers right now, right?
Mm.
That we really are that frequency keeper, and we are grounded in love and compassion.
Absolutely. And I absolutely love what you were saying, because when Venus is exalted, especially with
Mhm.
this eclipse coming up, right?
Yes.
I mean, the eclipse, right? It's going to be a new moon in Taurus. And
Mm-hmm.
who's Taurus ruled by, right?
Venus.
Venus, right? So,
Yeah.
and it's so funny because like and you mentioned at the very beginning, the north nodes and south nodes, right? And it's
Mhm.
Taurus Scorpio right now, which is why we have these eclipses. I find it so fascinating to see how people are being invited to move through whatever the fear is in order to really access that deeper beauty and everything that Venus embodies, right? That bliss, the pleasures of life, the beautiful things as well in the physical world as well as everything else. But could you we have someone on here,
A Taurus. I love
got a
it.
Taurus on here. Absolutely. Happy birthday. Happy solar return.
Solar. Yeah, if your birthday season.
It is. It is. Oh, on that point, could you
Mm.
when is someone's solar return? What would you say
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, so solar return is when it's your birthday, basically, right? So when the sun
Yeah.
returns to the placement it was in when you were born. So even, you know, as a Taurus, as the sun moves into Taurus, you're in your solar return season. And every year on our birthday, we even have a unique solar return chart. It's like an energetic reset. We have a new energy we're playing in each year, which is really, really powerful. And I think we intuitively feel that on our birthday. Like I know even before I knew all the astrology, it felt like my birthday was special. It was a new energy every year. And now that I know the astrology, I'm like, oh, wow, it is, right?
Yeah.
And we're always looking at our solar return alongside the other components of our chart, our birth chart, our progress chart, but it is a very significant component as well. Yeah.
You know, I always love it, Cara, when it's your birthday because you're a Cancer, right? What's your
Yes.
moon sign? I'm curious. What's your moon sign?
I'm a Taurus moon. So this, I'm
No
a Taurus.
wonder I was hearing to ask you.
Yeah, I'm a Taurus moon, and this new moon eclipse is actually right next to my natal moon. It's 1 degree off. So I'm like, oh my goodness, okay, this is going to be big.
Oh, it's going to be huge. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
I
so
love the
excited.
Taurian energy. Yeah, so I can share more about the eclipse energies too, if you
Yeah,
feel it'd be helpful to kind of dive into that. I know
please do.
because
Yeah.
what you were talking about was just such a beautiful lead-in as well of like, yes, Venus rules Taurus, so it's really in the spotlight right now. And Venus is also just such a significant placement in Pisces, so it is those higher realms of consciousness. And I love that the Taurus energy grounds it out. Like this Taurus new moon is about coming back into our body, being embodied in the energy of abundance and joy and love, and taking our intuition, these spiritual downloads, and grounding them in practical ways where we can use them as we move throughout our life, which is so important, right? So I love that we have this grounded Taurus energy with the Piscean energy, and they're coming together.
Yep.
Like that is really powerful. It's really beautiful. And it's also this return to like definitely listen to the wisdom of your body. What is it trying to tell you? But also what I keep hearing from the records around this new moon is enjoying the simple pleasures of life that we so often overlook.
Yes.
The beauty of like moment by moment that's here for us to experience. And we can get into this mindset of like our joy, our abundance, our success is always outside of us, like something we are chasing, that it's found in the next manifestation or goal. And that's not true. Like what we are seeking is here for us to claim in this moment.
Yes.
And this Taurus new moon and, you know, the aspects happening around it is really awakening us to that. Like, I think we can really sink in and be like, wow, okay, joy, love, abundance, it is here for me to claim now.
Yes.
And allowing that in, right? So it's even looking at where are we in that trap of thinking it's always out of reach. It's always outside of us instead of it's here now.
Where do you think that comes from? Like, that's a really interesting thing that you just said there, you know, kind of like this trap of it, you know, it's just always out of reach. Where does that come from? What is that within us that, you know, that feels that?
I think it's layers. I think it's a lot of the programming as well that tries to tell us happiness and joy are outside of us, right? I think that's part of that as well. Like, oh, we have to buy this. We have to experience this, right? That's no doubt part of it. I think also on like a pure essence is we are here to grow and evolve. So it's okay to expand into more and desire more. We just don't want to do that from a space of lack. So I think that's the difference. I think the balance is that gratitude for where we are, knowing we have what we need where we are, but we can still desire more. Like it's okay to want more. Part of life is change and evolution.
Well,
But
we're
it's
constantly expanding, aren't we? You know?
yeah, we are, right? We are. We want to keep up with that. We want to keep up with our desires, right? As Abraham Hicks says, being here, right? Like every moment, every conversation, every experience launches that rocket into something more. And then we either withhold ourselves from it or we keep up with it.
Yeah, exactly. Everything that you pick up is two sides, right? It's two things, two topics. So speaking of that, because then, you know, this is a solar eclipse. Right? Yeah. What does that mean? Because then 2 weeks later we have a lunar eclipse in Scorpio, my moon sign.
Ooh, how fun that's right. We got opposite moon signs. I love that. Yeah. So solar eclipses always happen on a new moon. So there's always that energy of new beginnings opening up with a solar eclipse. With a lunar eclipse, they happen on a full moon. So that's where we're going to have the full moon in Scorpio, because Scorpio is opposite Taurus. So we have the sun in Taurus. So the full moon will be in Scorpio. And that'll be the lunar eclipse. But eclipses also always come in pairs as well. So again, eclipses overall, they offer this beautiful energetic reset. And the solar eclipses is like a new beginning. So this really is a time to look at, like, am I on the path I desire? It is about moving forward. The lunar eclipse will be more about releasing. I haven't studied the charts around that as much, but just knowing that it's on the south node and it's near Scorpio, it's going to be more, and that is a lunar eclipse, it's a full moon. It's going to have an element of kind of integrating our past, doing some shadow work when we talk about Scorpio energy, and also a component of releasing. But we can see how those work together as well, right? It's like we can't step into the new without releasing the old, right? So it's ultimately always connected. It's like, what do I need to release in order to step into what I now desire to create? It's always that beautiful dance.
It is. And you know what? What I really love about moon signs as well, someone once said this to me, Cara, and I don't know whether you agree, because I'd love your intuitive perspective here, but someone once said to me about moon signs is that is where your wounded inner child will show up as well. So whatever your moon sign is, that's the most predominant characteristics from the wounded aspect that your inner child will show up when it's wanting to be healed up, to be integrated. Have you ever heard that?
Interesting. I haven't specifically, but I absolutely can see where that comes from, because the moon is our inner world. It is our emotions. So we hold on to a lot there. And that's where I was saying in relationships, moon compatibility is key, because it's where we feel safe and secure at the end of the day. So I can see where pieces of our inner child, right? Maybe the needs that weren't met, the times where we didn't feel safe or feel heard, right? We could hold on to that. And the key to unlocking that can be in our moon sign. That's why it's so important. Like, if people are just learning about their chart, it's like, take it a step deeper, go to your moon sign, go to your rising, and then of course from there there's layers and depths of, you know, your Venus placement, Mercury, Mars, like there's just so much. But the moon unlocks so much about our inner world, what we need to feel safe and secure, our intuition, how we use our intuition. There's a lot there. So absolutely, it makes sense. Like, I love whoever shared that. I totally see their perspective of where we can hold on to stuff there.
Yeah, and I feel so bad because I actually don't remember who shared it. I just remembered hearing it like a year or two ago, and I was like, oh, yeah, it stuck with me, and I was like, oh, no wonder. Hey, that's really interesting.
It's a key part of our healing and just understanding our needs, right? And often when people discover their moon sign, they're like, oh, this opened me up to a part of my personality that I couldn't understand just through my sun sign, which again is our zodiac sign. The other word is like the sign the sun was in when we were born, often known as zodiac sign, right? Which captures a lot, but I don't know, like some people really relate to their sign. I don't know if you feel that for you. Other people are like, sort of, but not quite, and it's because there's so much else going on.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is that you kind of, it's either all or nothing, isn't it? It's kind of like, oh my gosh, it's because I'm a Pisces or whatever. I'm like, is it? Is it because you're a Pisces, or is it because you got a Pisces rising as well, and also Pisces and Mercury?
Exactly. Like, I'm a Cancer sun, but I also have a stellium in Cancer, so I relate to a lot of the Cancerian traits. Like, I have Venus and Mercury there as well, so it's a strong presence, right? But there's also other aspects, like again, my Taurus moon is a big part of who I am too, that the Cancer energy doesn't speak to. Right?
I find that so fitting for you as well, because like the way that I always like see you on social media, I mean, like you have just this very graceful embodiment of the pleasures around you, you know. It's like you have grounded that in with that Taurus energy. It's very evident that you've grounded that in, right, in a very beautiful, very balanced way, you know. So that's
Oh,
really
thank you. Yeah,
wonderful.
my Taurus moon, right? That is my love of pleasure and adventure. And I
Yep.
think helping other, spiritual entrepreneurs with abundance as well, right? Taurus
Yes.
is also that money sign and that ability to receive what we desire. So
Yes.
it's a key part. But that's why I love helping people see, like, what is your moon sign? Because we tend to feel it. It's like we can, like you said, I love how you actually expressed how you see it. But I think when we're intuitive, we feel that in people. We're like,
Mm.
oh, this is kind of at play under the surface. And then our rising is key too, because that is often what other people see. Our rising is like that first impression we give. And if that energy is very different from our sun sign, sometimes it can lead to confusion where people are seeing and responding to us a certain way and we're like, that's not who I am. Right? Like some people
What if
have
you've got the
that.
same? What if you've got the same? What if you're like, the same
Yeah.
rising sign as you are the sun sign?
Yeah, well, and then it feels like more of an alignment there,
Yeah.
right? It's usually like people are understanding and seeing that personality, like there's more of that alignment. Yeah. Not that
Yes.
any are right or wrong. We all work with
No.
different energies, but when they are a match, it can just feel like what you are portraying is reflected in your personality. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Cara, I mean, you mentioned something just a moment ago that I'd love to ask a little bit more about. And, this week, for anyone that doesn't know Cara, she's been running she ran a free workshop. You have this wonderful Facebook group, don't you, online. Would you like to share with people what that Facebook group is? Because with Taurus season right here, with anchoring in this way forward, this direction forward for our soul, what are you offering right now? What's going on in your
Oh, yes,
beautiful
I'd
world?
love to share. I did a really fun masterclass last week that I know you jumped in and were able to
Yeah.
join as well. And now all the replays are available. So it's all about how to create a multiple six-figure business through the Akashic Records. So powerful. So what I've shared is like what helped me through working in the records and expanding my business the soul aligned way, right? This is all about very much alignment, what we're giving back to the planet. And yeah, it was a 3-part masterclass series. And those are all available in my Facebook group under featured videos. So I'd be happy to share out that group, or people can message if they want to join. It is free to join. The community itself is called Spiritual Goddesses Healing the World Together.
Oh, it's
And
beautiful. The energy in there is just
oh,
stunning.
thank you. I love that space, and I love just having a space for us to gather together and feel very supported on our journey, right? I think as light workers, healers, we need that. We need that
Yes.
sense of community and connection with like our soul family, because we don't always feel that in the family we were raised in or in our day-to-day. So coming together with people who share that similar mission and purpose.
Yeah, and
So
that releasing as well of this collective, the wounded feminine of competitiveness, right? As
Mhm.
well, there's none of that in there. It's just, it's just such a supportive space where, it's like the light from everyone else is just mirroring back this dazzling light within you. And, you can just grow together as we do, as we're meant to, right? And just really, focus in.
As we're meant to rise together, and that really is the
Yes.
goddess energy, right? There's no need for competition. The competition is very much just rooted in fear and this idea we've been programmed with, if there's only room for a few people at the top, a few people to be successful, instead of no, there's actually space for us all to rise together. We each contribute something unique.
Yeah, exactly. And, every single being on this planet, they're here for their own individual soul mission, but also for a collective one as well. We can't, there is no kind of who's going to get there first. And, there's only, as you just said, there's only a limited amount of space at the top. No, there's unlimited
Yeah.
potential, unlimited abundance, unlimited pieces of the pie, really, isn't there?
There
And when
is, and
yeah.
we have to anchor in that new paradigm, right? Through having these
Yeah.
conversations, through coming back to our soul's truth. It's like that feels better. The competition, I have to like do something I don't want in order to excel. There's only so much room. Like that feels very contractive and off,
Yeah.
because it is. So it's like we are anchoring in a new paradigm on the planet,
It
right?
clenches my stomach when we speak like that,
Yeah, it's not
It doesn't
right.
feel good, right?
It doesn't, and it doesn't
Oh,
have to be that way, right? It doesn't mean it hasn't been on the planet, but there's another possibility that we are ascending into. And I'm seeing it every day, right? Even coming together in these conversations, these collaborations, like that's helping create the shift.
Yes, absolutely. I just want to take a moment as well for anyone that is watching, if you're not yet following Cara on Instagram, please just, hit the like button, hit the follow button, be very welcome to find her across all her different social media platforms. Cara, what is your handle across Facebook and YouTube and everywhere? Instagram, you're Cara Melendy, right?
Cara Melendy is the easiest, and that's Instagram. On Facebook is Cara Melendy as well, and I do have my page, Cara Melendy, Akashic Astrologer, but basically my name is the the best place. On YouTube as well. I'm working on building up my YouTube, which has been super fun, like sharing videos there every week, and I actually just recorded the video for the new moon solar eclipse, so I'm going to release that after this as well for anyone that wants to check that out, and that's just under my name as well, Cara Melendy. I think I've added now Akashic Astrologer, but if you search my name, it'll come up.
I'm so excited to watch that. I really enjoy what you put out there. So I have to check the notifications actually, because I have to check that they're kind of notifying me, because sometimes I don't get them and I'm like, YouTube, come on, what's happening?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Cara, what would you like to share with us? I feel like I should just open the question. And by the way, anyone watching, feel welcome to ask questions as well if you're watching as well.
Any questions, I'm open, and I can try to circle back on the replay too as questions come in or people check that. But I would say, yeah, we're just at a really powerful time on the planet of ascension, where more and more people are being called to step up and share their gifts and share their truth, and know that there's space for you, know that there's room for you. If you have that calling in your heart, it's written in the records for you to claim. And it's okay that there's fears, there's imposter syndrome, there's doubt. Don't let that hold you back. And I think that's important to say, because sometimes we feel like if we see other people showing up, we think they don't have those fears, and that's just not true, right? We all experience those fears. It's just how we move through them. We don't have to allow those fears to hold us back.
Can I just ask, how would you move through fears as well? Because like the expansion that I've seen you go through in the past few years alone, it's phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. How have you faced your fears?
Yeah, a lot of it has been just allowing that voice of my higher self and my mission and my vision to be bigger than my fears, to really see that fears, like those, beliefs, they're not absolute truths, right? They're not a truth. So I just don't give them a lot of attention. I'm aware of it. I honor that part of me, but what I really focus on is like what I'm here to do, what my vision is, what my higher self knows, and continuing to calibrate to that. Right. And just deciding that the fears won't stop me. Like I can feel it and I can process it. And I do have different techniques like EFT, work in the records, where I move through the emotion. But it is that decision as well, that it just can't hold us back. Right. And we all get to make that decision.
And I absolutely love what you said, like where you go up to the records and you allow it to flow through, you allow that fear to move, because that's all energy wants to do. And it only blocks us when we allow it to, when we constrict and we go, oh no, I don't want this to move, right? Or I don't want to feel this, right? And when we don't feel it, that's when it starts to get stuck, right? And we're like, no, it's okay. Feel it to heal it, let it flow by, and just recalibrate to your highest self voice. Right? Just as soon as you can.
It's so true. Energy is meant to flow. If it doesn't, we've created a story around it.
Yes.
We become addicted to that feeling in our body, but it's have it flow.
Now that is a really interesting word for Taurus Scorpio nodes, I think, personally. Addiction, right? Especially addicted to a story. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, well, absolutely, because I think we get used to entertaining certain thoughts and certain ideas, and that's where we have to break that old program, right? It's like even in our body, we can become addicted to feeling anxious or depressed, or feeling joy, feeling excitement, right? Like but our body does calibrate to these different ideas, these different stories. So we have to recognize what's at play. That's always the first step. Having the awareness that, I have this old story that's at play. Is this ultimately true? How does my higher self see this? What is another way that I can see this and practice that new energy, that new belief, right? It's a simple process, but to create that change does take commitment. And yeah, it's so true, right? With the Scorpio Taurus axis, substitute in our life. How to break those patterns that don't serve us. And the Taurus moon, like that can be some of the shadow stuff, is it holds on to old emotions, old trauma, can really hold that in the body. So we want to look at, how can I address that? How can I honor that part of me that's holding on to that? What do they need to feel safe? And again, there's layers to that. And that's where I think receiving support and guidance from a counselor, from a mentor, from a coach, as we work through that, can be really helpful. So we feel held, we feel supported, and we feel empowered with the tools. So we're not stuck, right?
Yeah.
If we have an awareness of these things, but we don't have the tools, that's where we feel overwhelmed. If we have an awareness and we realize, okay, I know how to move through this, that's where we feel empowered.
Yeah. And I really love that you said, reach out to someone that does this, right? That can hold that space. I saw someone, ask a question the other day, and someone had commented, we'll connect with your inner guru, find the answers there. And then someone had replied to them saying, oh, absolutely. But usually what happens is we are so full of our own false beliefs that we can't hear clearly the voice of our guru. Then we need someone to see us in the frequency that we want to achieve. And that is why you connect with someone. I just want to say hi to Jerome here. Oh my gosh, Jerome, I gave you a shout out at the start because, Jerome is the guy who does the interviews, and I had the honor of chatting with him a few weeks back, and then he came on the show 2 weeks ago, and inspired me to to carry on doing this, because I thought it was just so wonderful. And he's actually asking a couple of questions, or saying hello. He's saying the Akashic records is so fascinating to me. Jerome, what questions would you have? Thank you. He says it's great topics. Thank you. I agree.
Awesome. Yeah, if there's any questions, I'm definitely here for it.
Yeah. Jerome, what are your questions? If you're still here, it'd be great to hear them. But yeah, what was I going to say? Cara, would you mind touching upon, only if you feel called, just with that Scorpio moon in May?
Yeah.
And depending on which astrology you look at, traditional or modern, and who governs Scorpio, right? We have a Pluto retrograde coming up at the same time as this first eclipse.
Yeah, the day before. So we're Yes, and Pluto is the planet of power and transformation. It's played a very, very key role lately, absolutely, in helping us anchor into a new definition of power. Like we've seen in our society, power being misused, power over, and we are now defining a new way of being in our power. Yeah. And I always talk about power that comes from our connection to source, power that comes from our connection with love. That's what we are stepping into here, and that is huge. And yeah, Pluto is retrograde at the time of the first eclipse, and it's actually in direct relation with Venus as well. So again, what around that is like a power rooted in love. I mean, of course, there's other ways we can analyze that too, in terms of how our relationships are being transformed. But I really feel it's like a grounding, this idea of power and love, because the more good-hearted people who can be in their power, that's a game changer, right? When we feel empowered, we take different actions that can benefit the planet. So we have to kind of look at maybe the shadow side of that, which again, the Scorpio full moon may bring to the light, right? Scorpio is all about, let's look behind the veil, let's look at the shadow and see what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Let's look at maybe where we're not in our power, where we are giving our power away, where we are resisting doing the deeper shadow work or transformation work. And I mean, we'll be diving in with that full moon, right? It's a different vibe than what we're getting with the initial eclipse and the solar eclipse. But again, they work together, right? They work together, but different energy.
They do. So I've got a couple of questions from Jerome here, and I didn't even know there was a question function on Instagram. I learn every day. So one of them was about the Venus placement. What does that say? And I know we spoke about that earlier on. So I'll just say Jerome will find the minutes for you so that you can go back and have a little look at that, because we spoke a little bit about Venus already. But I love this other question, because I was going to ask something very similar. Do I just click on it? Look at this. There we go. What will you be doing during the eclipse? So, and to add on to that, how can
Mm.
everyone make sure that they don't panic? Because something you said earlier on, Cara, was that, this is about this new moon, solar eclipse is about going forward on your soul path. How
Yeah.
can people find what is the right alignment, what is the right thing for them to do? What a great question, Jerome. What will you be doing
Absolutely.
with
Yeah.
this?
Thank you so much for those questions. And yeah, we spoke a little about Venus for sure. But yeah, just to kind of recap that as well, it is in a very powerful position right now next to Jupiter and
Mm,
Neptune, which is elevating consciousness, supporting the ascension on the planet, and encouraging us to look at incorporating more joy, more love, more bliss and pleasure into our daily life for sure. And as far as the eclipse, so I'm going to be opening up my Akashic records because I love to work in that space and really just feeling into the guidance that is there for me at this time.
mm,
I'll often pull some oracle cards as well in the space of the records. So if I have specific areas of my life I want to focus on, I'll tailor it to that because in the Akashic records, the questions we ask elicit the information that comes through. So business is a big part of my life. I'll have some around that, around my relationships, bring in some guidance. But I love to, yeah, just be in that space and receive guidance and bring in some oracle cards. I usually create crystal grids as well to lock in my
mm.
intentions. I have a crystal grid that I like to keep at my front door, and usually every new moon, not all the time, but most of the time, I'll rearrange the grid and just put in new intentions into that, which just every time I see it, it kind of anchors the energy in as well. Some other things that I don't always do, but time to time, is journaling around the eclipse energy. So anyone that does work in the records, you can open the records and just kind of free write on what comes through in that space, or really just journal on your intentions. Like become really grounded and embodied in it too. Like even sometimes our goals, like we don't really connect to them. It's like I want
Mm,
this, but we're not embodied in it. And this new moon is a chance to really be embodied and what we want to create and attract and call in, and making sure that it resonates with who we really are and what we want. And it's not like
mm,
a superficial goal in the sense that we're like, I think I should want this, or someone else is doing this, so should I want this? But it's
mm.
actually, that's what I mean when I say embodied. It's like it's true to our heart and our soul and what we're here to create.
Oh, Jerome's got some amazing questions. So he's a Scorpio as well. So he's really feeling this, he's saying. And
I love it.
oh, so Jerome is asking, he's got a couple of questions. Is the Akashic Records accessible to everyone? And if so, what's a simple way of
Mm.
connecting? And then what as well is your favorite way to access cosmic intelligence?
Ah,
What
I
great
love
questions.
that. So the records is absolutely available to everyone. I know we talked a little bit as well about the process I use to go in, which is more in depth. Like I have a whole process when I bring people through the records are open, which is really about coming back and activating our soul blueprint, clearing energy that doesn't serve us, grounding to Mother Gaia, connecting into our higher self. I even
Mm.
bring in sound. I like to sound the sacred Om. So there's different things that I bring into that. But I mean, yeah, there's different ways. Other people open the records differently. I really like the ritual that I was taught in, and I kind of added to that sense. And I find that serves me well. But it really is, and it's not about we have to be in a perfect space, but the more that we can kind of raise our frequency to access these higher realms of consciousness, that's going to be supportive in entering the records,
Mm.
because in the records, we're connected to our higher self. So it's not going to be limited by our ego and the doubts and the fears. So the more that we can even just see it for what it is, like, oh, this is a doubt, this is a fear, it's not ultimately who
Mm.
I am, we can access that space and that wisdom with greater ease.
Right. And
So,
oh no, I was just going to say, just to kind of link it back to something you said earlier as well, is that, it's a frequency, right? When you go into the Akashic Records, it's a frequency you're
yeah.
opening yourself up to. And I think that's important sometimes to hear, because sometimes
Mhm.
people think that, you're just going to be kind of sitting down somewhere or kind of meditating or doing something like that. And then all of a sudden you've astral projected yourself over to, over to this kind of building where it's full of everyone's book of life. And although some people, will take you through a visualization to connect with that part of the Akashic Records, it's more a frequency, right? You don't have to physically leave your body because you're bringing it down to you, right?
Yeah, yeah, beautifully said. That's exactly it. And a lot of people do see it sometimes as a library because I think we think
Mm.
records, that's how it's
Yeah.
portrayed a lot of the time. But it is a frequency at the end of the day. So, of course, we can access it. And that really is the key in accessing the records is relaxing our body, right?
Yeah.
Relaxing our body. Also being in the present moment, being in the now, and knowing that we have the ability to access these different realms of consciousness. Some people feel that they don't, right? And again, working with a mentor or guide is so helpful. We each have the ability to do that, but it's also helpful to have someone hold that space. Or like you had said earlier, that sometimes we don't see our own blind spots. Right? It's like
Yeah.
we can do so much work. And yes, we are so powerful. Like ultimately, we are that catalyst to our own healing and growth and expansion. But sometimes someone else can come in and they can see that blind spot or they can awaken us to a new possibility. And that's why we are here co-creating together. There's so
Yes.
much we can do on our own, but then it's through our connections and relationships that we continue to expand. And that's such a big part of our life journey, right? Is we're here to exist in relationships. We
Yes,
learn
we
more about
are.
ourselves through
That's
that.
why we're
Yeah.
here on Earth, right? To have this
Yeah.
physical experience, to, connect and to play with one another in the physical realm.
Totally.
Jerome is just saying what a conscious conversation this is.
Thanks for being here.
Oh God, he's gorgeous. He's absolutely gorgeous. So,
Yeah.
Cara, you've got something going on right now, haven't you? You've got a course, a new accreditation that's out. What can you share with us what you're offering? Because your service work is so empowering and so anchoring for people. I really just want you to have some space to share what's going on with you right
So
now.
I am so excited about this creation. So I recently opened up a program on becoming a certified Akashic Records practitioner. So being able to bring other people through this process of not just knowing how to open their records, but actually being able to do readings for others, do healing in this
Mm.
space for other people. And what's so unique about this certification that was revealed to me in the records and I hadn't really seen in other places is you also learn how to access the records of your business. So that's something I'm really passionate about is seeing healers and light workers expanding and growing their business. So part of this program is accessing the energetic blueprint, the records of your business, which
Mm.
I know we spoke about earlier as well, brings clarity on the message you're here to share, the clients you're here to serve. It brings in ideas and programs and offers and clarity around pricing, and it just continues to grow and expand with you at every new level. So I'm so excited to share this with the world because the records has truly been transformative for me, and it continues to be
Yes.
from like healing to becoming aware of karmic cycles to expansion in my business. Like it is just a game changer on every level.
Yes, and you know what? I'm so excited for you as well because it is. I've genuinely not seen anyone else tap into this before, and this I feel personally, when I feel the resonance and the vibration of this heart offer that you have, it is the missing link for so many people because we have such a deep embedded shadow, right?
Yeah.
Of having of resources of kind of all that the security of being, right?
Mm-hmm.
And especially for this to be starting in a Pluto retrograde as well. I can't think of a better time with solar eclipses, lunar eclipse, and a Pluto retrograde. I can't think of a better time to be
Yeah,
offering this because of how
intentional.
cosmic alignment will really encourage as well, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, it's definitely co-created with that energy in mind where I know we are at a time where so many people are expanding and wanting to share their gifts, wanting to deepen their connection to their soul path.
Yeah.
And they know that they're here to make an impact on the planet. They know they're here to anchor in this energy of love. And
Yes.
the records support you in that in beautiful ways. Like, firstly, it will take you through your own journey of healing and reconnecting to your path. And then it will show you how to use this to benefit the planet. So it's beautiful to have both, right?
It
We
is.
have
It
to have
is.
our initiation first, but then it's like, wow, reading for others is such a gift too. And there is there's just so much you can do with it. I find people can really make this their own, right? It works well alongside so many different modalities too. It's like, you know, you can do Reiki, theta healing, astrology, numerology in the records, and it just takes it to like new levels of impact.
It's like a beautiful kind of energetic hug, linking together all these different modalities that people have practiced and have, you know, educate themselves in. It all links in so divinely as well. It doesn't matter what it is that you do, it's going to be enhanced in that space, and you're going to find your real divine niche. And when it's divine, it's blessed. Right?
Oh,
and when it's blessed,
well,
when it's divine, it's blessed, and when it's blessed, it's guaranteed, right?
Ooh,
it's guaranteed. True. Yeah, because that's what you're offering, that's what you do, and it's just so. Is that linked in your bio on here? What's linked right now?
It's not linked in the bio, but the best way is you're welcome to message and just say Akashic certification, and I do have all the details there, so you can feel into, is it speaking to you, is it calling to you, does it feel aligned? Yeah, so definitely feel free to reach out if you're feeling the call, and we have such a beautiful group so far. I know this is just going to be transformational, and I feel so honored to guide people in this. Like, it really just feels like a blessing for sure, and I know there's soul contracts with people that are meant to be in this space and go on this journey with me, which feels so powerful as well.
Oh, I love that. Now, Cara, I know we're at an hour, so I just want to ask, you know, do you have another 5 or so minutes? Because we've got some brilliant questions from Jerome. And I just want to be respectful of your time as well. So I just want to check in to see if you've got time to answer some of these.
Yeah, no, I definitely do.
Yeah, okay. All right, great, because, oh boy, are they amazing. Okay. Right. Whew. All right. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm going to go through them one by one because I think they're just going to be like question boom, question boom. Okay. So, what is your personal definition of the law of attraction?
Oh, that is a good question. Wow. How I see this is it's really about being grounded in our truth, right? It's all about who we are being. And when we are grounded in our unique essence, our soul blueprint, we attract things, right, that align to that are also a part of that frequency. I also feel what's really important when we talk about law of attraction, that we don't bring judgment into it, which the ego does, right? Sometimes when we become really aware of our power to create what we want, to generate emotions, to call in, there can be a part of us that may judge or criticize. And remembering that our higher self never has any of that. There's always just an invitation of, hey, you can think a new thought. You can vibrate in a new way. So I think it's really about being grounded in our essence and trusting that frequency is matched by the universe.
Oh, I love that, because it's grounded, but it's active as well. You're actively choosing rather than bringing judgment of the ego when you're going, we're not going to entertain that right now. We see you, we let you flow, but we're actively choosing this higher vibration so we can align more of that. Oh, beautiful. I love that, Cara.
I love how you summed that up.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Let's see. Oh, okay. This is a great one. What do you feel the vibration of sound has done for your vessel?
Yeah, and that's actually a key component that I bring into accessing the records. I work with the power of sound because sound holds a frequency as well. And so I love to work with that. I see it as a key component to entering into the records. It's working with the power of sound, working with the power of vibration. I also find sound is very healing. This is just my own experience as well with chanting, doing different mantras. It's like it's a release and a new vibration that we emit in a very, very powerful way. So it's intentionally a big part of how I open the records, and also just in my own journey, I love to work with sound and mantras to activate our throat chakra, but also just kind of raise our consciousness as well.
Absolutely.
Is healing, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I'm listening at the same time because like so much like joy is coming through this. I'm loving it. Okay. Oh, that's a great question. I'm going to save that one till after. Okay. Have you ever had struggles when it came to the idea of abundance? And if so, How did you transcend? What a great question.
Beautiful. Absolutely. And that's actually a big part of the work I do too, again, with light workers and healers, is tapping into their unique abundance codes. Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely. I think the opposite of being in abundance is feeling the lack and scarcity. So for me, that's even showed up in the past in financial ways, right? Of feeling stressed, not having that relationship with money that I would like. And that's been a big part of my healing journey through the records, is questioning those old beliefs, old relationships, and activating my unique abundance codes. And again, I know money is just one aspect of abundance. It shows up in many, many different forms, and we get to receive it in all of its forms. But what I've learned in the records is that abundance really is the core truth. Abundance really is who we are at the end of the day, right? It is. And the lack is from the programming and the fear, but it's not the truth. So when we strip that away, or we're naturally calibrated to abundance in our life. So yeah, it's been a journey. I feel like that could be a whole kind of episode on its own to kind of talk about my journey with that, right? But
it could.
Huge. Yeah.
It could. And I love how you say, you know, strip back the program and strip it back. And I know that you personally have worked in the Akashic Records to bring down your unique code for that. And do you think everyone has their own unique abundance code then?
Everybody has their own abundance codes. That's part of my Akashic certification training, is helping people activate theirs, access theirs, because it is different for everyone, and we can pull that down and be in that energy of abundance while we are here on the earth plane. In fact, that's, if we're feeling the call toward that, that is our destiny. That is where we are meant to create from, where we are meant to be. Love that question. Beautiful question.
Oh gosh, you know what, Jerome just has such an incredible way of articulating and just kind of you know, certain questions.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh, and then I'm just gonna, last question I'm gonna ask. Oh gosh. Okay, there's two questions, but I'll make it into one, because you've already touched upon this one about what you feel your life mission is. But have you always had so much confidence in your expansion, and were there any role models or mentors? And if so, who have they been?
Oh, beautiful question. Yeah. I've always had support and guidance on this journey. I always say I'm a personal growth junkie. Since I was a kid, like, I think my first self-help book, well, they say self-help at the age of 15, right? So I've been so committed to this journey. I love the work of Abraham Hicks, has been a huge part of my path. Very uplifting, very resonant in many ways with her teachings. I also love Dr. Wayne Dyer. I got to see him live and in person before he made
Wow, did you?
Oh, beautiful soul. Beautiful soul. There was always just such a vibration of love. I would be anchored in for months, just being in his presence and his energy. So he was such a big part of my journey as well. But I'm also always just seeking out personal mentors. Emily Harrison as well has been big for me in the records. So I'm always receiving that support and guidance. The first self-help book, it was actually, and again, this was years ago, so I don't know if it would hold, but it was I Know What You're Thinking by Lillian Glass. So it wasn't even necessarily spiritually based at that time. It was
you read what you needed.
I got what I needed. Well, and I'm very into psych stuff too, right? So it was very much about
you attracted it in, right? Law of attraction brought it into you. The resonance you were seeking, it was there, and that was it for where you were at that point.
Totally. As the other one, Eckhart Tolle, I really like his teachings. His book On a New Earth and The Power of Now. They were very significant as well. Yeah.
Wonderful. Oh, okay. So I'm just going to say, Cara, thank you so much for spending such a gorgeous exchange of energy and time and love with us to share all the wisdom. Oh my gosh, it's such a juicy connection that we've had. It's just so full of nourishing bits of information. And I do encourage anyone that's just jumping on right now, you know, go back to the beginning, pop it on whilst you're, you know, doing whatever else. Maybe you're kind of, you know, in the garden or whatever. Have your earphones in and just listen to all the nourishment that Cara shares with us, because wow, is it beautiful. And, you know, feel welcome to follow Cara on Instagram, you know, connect with her groups, right? Connect with her Facebook group, ask her questions. She's beautiful and she's brilliant. You are beautiful and brilliant. So Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much for having me. This has been incredible. Thank you for your beautiful words. You are absolutely amazing as well. Just such a beacon of love and light on this planet. Like truly, truly, you embody that divine feminine energy and just love in its purest essence. So thank you. This has been so
Thank
fun.
you. Thank you so much. And for anyone that is on my Instagram as well, so tomorrow, just to kind of recap a couple of things that we've still got going on from my end. Tomorrow, I'm being interviewed by the wonderful Georgie Garwood on Facebook. So that is in my bio. That's going to be about false beliefs, illusions, and breaking free from the shadows. We also are midway through the Shadow Integration course from Illusion to Love. It's a recorded content live rollout, and we have a live Zoom session on Thursday night, but you have to be enrolled on that course to have access to that. It's going to be super, super powerful. And the last thing, for anyone who is loving that pranic living, who is interested in breatharianism, in that solitarianism, right? You know, really cultivating your inner chi, we have our Pranic Initiation Friday through Monday, which I have the honor of co-hosting. All of those links are in my bio as well. So feel very welcome to ask any questions, to reach out. But in the meantime, have a beautiful eclipse, have a beautiful partial solar eclipse, and check out Kara's video on YouTube that's coming out after this.
I'm going to upload it after this.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
So much love, everyone. Bye.